Well, hello. I am nobody.
Well, hello.
Well, that's exciting and loud. Let's try that. Well, whatever. Well, I'll try that again. So, well, hello. I'm nobody. Um, Before we get started, I have three disclosures to go over. First one is I do think time is the most valuable resource we have, and I do greatly appreciate you spending some of it with me. Two, I love you no matter what. And three, these are only words. They only have the power that you give them. So, you understand those three disclosures? Welcome to Open Social Comedy PC. Um, what is that? Thought child of that for me is I'm gonna live my best day until I can get to my bestest day, and hopefully it's entertaining and at some point meaningful. um, Super awkward and weird. It's the first time I've done public speaking, so build with me. This is going to be a shit show. So I guess um, the best way to get started is to just go over and tell you what my bestest day is. Um, so my bestest day, I have a pretty decent idea of what it is. I spent a lot of time thinking about it. Um, when you're in elementary school or in high school, or even now, if you are going through a midlife crisis, the question is, if money didn't matter, what would you do? Um, I think the better question isn't so much money didn't matter. It's it's what would you do? What would be your bestest day? And that gives you a better idea of what you really want to do with yourself. Because we are more than what we do for a job. Um, and I think that's where that came from. Um, my ex girlfriend is currently taking a leadership class, and they asked the same question that I used to ask people I was attempting to hire: of what is your best day? Is figuring out what your best day is, then you can start making moves and expectations to what that best day is. My best day starts at 4 a.m. Um, I get up my apartment at the third place, look out the windows of my apartment, you see whatever is going on outside of that, grab uh, workout clothes, get ready to head down to the gym that uh, three of my buddies and I have rented because nobody else is using it. Um, so I go downstairs. We have a little convenience store, shop or whatever. I grab my energy drinks, rain. Um, Talk to the kid behind the counter. Um, he's excited because he's finishing up his internship. And once he gets done with his internship, he's going to be submitting for his small business grant to start whatever it is that he wants to do after graduation. I ask him if he has any other interest other than the grant, and he says no. And so I give him my number, or he already has my number. I tell him to email me or text me the business plan because I might know somebody who's interested in helping him out. So I get to the gym, and one of my friends, he helps people find opportunities to invest in upstart businesses. I ask him if he's still doing that. He says yes, and I pass along the business plan for that kid's business to see where that goes. My buddies and I do a CrossFit workout or whatever workout that we do in the gym. We're done around 5:00. People are trickling in because one of the fitness trainers that works for the third place has a bunch of people coming in for a class. So we talk on the way in and out and visit with some of the people and head over to grab some breakfast before everybody goes out on their way. There's a food court at the third place, and there's several different options for us to eat at. One of those options is family that makes breakfast burritos. Grandma, mom, and a daughter all hand down some family recipe of whatever. They're running this out of the spot, so we go there for breakfast. We sit out, have some breakfast. Everybody goes on their way. I don't have anything to do, so I head over to the pickleball courts and play pickleball for an hour or so. Probably 2 hours or so. Somebody's running the games that we have for the different levels of the people that can play. We actually get the chance to pay out the winner from the previous month's awards for participation, because everybody wants a participation trophy. After that, I take a shower, and head up to studio. As I'm walking through the courtyard or the foyer, there's an old man I haven't seen in a long time. I have to visit with him. Ask him what he's doing here. He's said there were a bunch of people that wanted him and another old guy to sit around and tell stories about whatever it was. So they're going to tell their firsthand whatever knowledge of whatever it is that they were saying. I asked him if he had a production crew. He said he got some new kids to come down with some cameras, because I wasn't going to be able to see it live, but I would definitely like to see it later. He tells me about his crew. I asked him if he'd be interested in something more detailed. He said certainly would. And I give him a hug and tell him I'll see him later. And I head up to the studio. We have the By the People production company, which is where this podcast grows to. We have a whole production team and unit. I walk into the office and ask the lady behind the counter how school's going. She's interning somewhere and is about ready to leave us to go do something that she really, really wants to do. So after visiting with her, I ask her if we have a production team that can go down and video and get a good documentary view of what the storytelling that's going to happen with those two guys downstairs. She says she'll take a look, and I head into the studio to meet with the rest of our team. Sit around, make one of these for everybody. We have a great time. Super lucky to do it. Visit with the staff, the crew, talk about what we're going to do tomorrow. Then I go downstairs to the tailor that's down there. We have a guy who just loves to make suits, and he's making me a suit for the night. I'm going to go out. So I go down, try it on, ask him what it is. He tells me it's $40. He doesn't really tell how much the material costs. He's good with whatever else. So I give him a hug and I give him $200 because I have the money and I value his work. I take the suit, head up to my apartment, take a shower, get ready, go out to dinner. My girlfriend and a few of our close friends, we go out to dinner. We have a good time. Probably go somewhere super fancy that I don't like because everybody is excited about the evening and feel like we need to celebrate. I wore a suit. Wear a lot of collared shirts, so it's not my forte, but we dress up and we head to the stadium or arena or theater or wherever it is. A couple other guys and girls who are putting on a show. They hand me a microphone and I walk out in front of a crowd and welcome them to the Open Source Comedy Tour. So I babbled on about that because I think it's kind of important to understand what the goal that I have is to, that's my perfect day. My perfect day involves us creating an arena where everybody has an opportunity, and if you can, you would do. If you can't, don't. Read that for what you want to, but yeah, that's that's what I'm trying to do. And yeah, well, yeah, that's where we're at. So had a plan what I was gonna say, but this is really hard to talk to yourself. So what is how do I get to that best day? I think it's by doing what you want to do and letting everything fall into place. I do have a list of books that you can find on my X account or Twitter account or whatever it is. And the list is incomplete, but it's definitely a list that I feel like gives a pretty good understanding of of me, and gives you a good understanding of how I think about things.
the list of books is The Art of War.
Very by Sun Zhao or Zhu. I don't know. It's Chinese. Very makes you think a lot about different things and has some dumb, oh no kidding type of things. Next one's going to be Transcending Levels of Consciousness: The Stairway to. That's by David Hawkins. Actually got that from somebody going through a rehab. That one's very interesting in finding a foundation for where I'm grounded at. Gym camps start with no, a negotiating tool that the pros don't want you to know. That one sounds like a sales book. It certainly is, but it's very, you read it for more than what it is, you find some very interesting philosophies that I've incorporated. Chris Voss and Tal Raz Never Split the Difference. Negotiating as if your life depends on it. Another sales book, but very, very intriguing. And the last one on the list, and probably one of the most intriguing one, is Alan Watts' The Book on the Taboos Against Knowing Who You Are. That one I've listened to several different times. Now the joke is I've never read a book in my life, which is true. I can't read to save my life. If you ever give me anything to read, you'll discover it is a skill set that I'm working on, but not diligently. I do listen to a lot of books, and after reading those books, it has drastically influenced the way in which I approach the world and thinking. One book that you'll notice that's not on that, but if you go on this journey with me, you're gonna hear me reference it a lot. Is Tao. It's Tao Te Ching or something. I don't speak Chinese. But that one basically is a book that I found after all of this, which is interesting because it basically summarizes everything that I thought I got from the books that I have in the list, and it ties it up into a nice, tidy little bow. And a nice tidy bow. And you just, after I read it for the first time, it was kind of like, oh, this is the thing. The book is Tao Te Ching, and I guess it's 5,000 words. I've never been able to just find the translation. The only thing that I've ever really been able to find to listen to is somebody else's interpretation of it. I think that's an interesting way to find that, mostly because the first passage or chapter or whatever it's called says something to the effect of, oh, fucking let's look it up. Me and Gronk are buds. Fucking pitter patter, let's get at her. What is the first passage in the Tao? This is not the nightclub. This is the philosophy, religion, or whatever. Tao Te Ching. Alternative translation. Oh, here we go. So, based on the widely accepted versions, such as Stephen Michael's translation, the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao, is the first one. And basically, most people's translation to that is that it makes you can't explain it, but once you find it, you know it. So, like how everybody explains love, right? Like, you can't explain what it is, but when you're in it, you know it. That's basically what the Tao is saying. And there's a bunch of different chapters that it goes through, but that is where my line of thinking is coming from. In saying that, what is going to be happening in this journey that we're going on? Well, I would like to be funny, but I'm not funny. Um, I I think that for something to be interesting, it must be funny. And or I think I what did I put in my post? Fuck a duck. Uh, if everything interesting is funny, I say that I think everything is interesting is funny, and I find everything interesting, everything is going to be funny to me. So what this whole ordeal is basically me brainstorming jokes. I'm going to sit here and just brainstorm different ideas and try to come up with a joke and see how it goes. I think laughing is important. I think if you can laugh about something, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable, you will be able to talk about it. The more things that we can talk about, um, the more things that we can move past talking about them. So basically, if you can laugh at it, you can talk about it, and if you can talk about it, you can do just about anything with it. So that's what I'm going to try to do. In doing this, I am way funnier in my head than I am the first time that I deliver something. So, like I said in the practice rounds that I did yesterday, to no one, that I think that I'm funny. I think what I think I think what I think is funny, other people think is funny. So if people heard what I think from a funny person, they would also think that it's funny. So this is me trying to get my ideas to be delivered by somebody who's funny. Whether that's me, you, some stranger, who knows? I'm really, when I talk to, well, mostly myself about this, you run through all the scenarios, and it's interesting because, like, one of the conversations that I think about is what I think other people would think about is the intellectual property part. Like, you're just putting your joke book. This is my joke book. That's what this is, my joke book. Um, and from what I understand, from what I've heard, I have no friends. I have nobody in the comedy space. I just think it's a fun. I like the art form, and I want to try to do it. I want to involve as many people as I can and help as many people as I can along the way. There is a much greater goal for this, um, and I'm not in control of whether it succeeds or fails. So this is just me kind of. I referenced the Tao before. The Tao is joked or is said to be the art of doing nothing. And this is me doing nothing. There is, when I am stoned by the pool or sitting at the sitting on the couch or laying in bed, I'm looking at things and trying and laughing at them, because everything is, all of the things that create tension and disdain, if you look at them in a certain light, they are funny. And that's what I'm trying to do. yeah, I do think it would be. This is much easier to do when there's somebody to talk to. But like I said, I don't have anybody to talk to, so it's just kind of me talking to this bright fucking light in front of me, and I think it's really just me trying to get comfortable and figure out the best way to get the voice in my head to be the voice in my mouth. Um, when I sit around or I pace and I'm doing this, I am quick. I'm envisioning myself being, or this being. I don't even know if it's me. I envision all of this being presented much differently than I am able to spit it out when I take a minute to like move my mouth. Um, which is super interesting. I think this is going to me, a lot of this is going to be me getting used to removing whatever filter it is between my brain and my mouth, because sometimes we need to hear the unedited version of things and go with it. Like I said, these are only words, they only have the power that you give them. And what I mean by that, or if you can take that for whatever you want to, but what I'm saying with that is like I don't have control of the what you feel. Some of what I say may make you uncomfortable, may offend you, but that is not the place that the words are coming from. If it does offend you, does hurt your feelings, if it does whatever emotional response, if it makes you laugh, I didn't do any of that. I simply, I just simply said the words. You had the reaction. You're the one. Um, you're the one responsible for the way that you react to something. You're the one responsible for whether you're offended or not. And I genuinely do mean that I love you, and I do not want this to hurt anybody's feelings. And if it does, I hope you give us or give me, at some point, us hopefully, the opportunity to have a conversation about it, because that's really the goal of what I want the world to be, is a place where we can make fun of everything. Because if you can make fun of it, you can laugh at it. And if you can laugh at it, you can talk about it. We can just start talking about more things. We can stop needing some of the things. What else do we got? So yeah, this is going to be my diary, I guess. This is my joke book. This is my outlook. This is my, this is me. I am nervous, excited, and scared, and all of the emotions all at the same time. So I look forward to like coming up with finding who I am, finding what it is, finding it, and seeing where it goes. I am, like I said, I am nobody. I have no skills. I have no training. I have no knowledge. I am never going to be considered an expert. But I do have fun, and I do love life. So, see what happens. I guess I'll close on this because I'm 40 minutes in. I don't know. How long do I? Yeah, we'll do an hour. So, this isn't funny, I don't think, but this is something that I love the Pat McAfee show, and I love Aaron Rodgers. Now you're going to hear me say the word love a lot. And it's not to be creepy. I'm not a stalker. But I think everything is on a spectrum. Life is zeros and ones, and or bipolar, or whatever it is. And we really only have two emotions. We have love and we have hate. And there are different degrees of love, and we have labeled them, and everybody's spectrum is a little bit different, but there are only two, and that's love and hate. Do genuinely, I have no personal connection with, or will ever try to stalk somebody, but I really do like those two groups of people. Find to be have a very good energy about them, and I am intrigued by them. So Aaron Rodgers today was on the Pat McAfee show, and had a conversation, and it was very interesting. Found it very interesting, where especially over the narrative over the last few months, where everybody was trying to figure out what he was trying to do and what he was doing and how he was doing it. And when he said today that what he listened to by the sea was Alan Watts, a lot of Alan Watts stuff, I found that very interesting, because I think it explains a lot of what he's doing, and how I think he's doing it in a way that we should appreciate. We should appreciate more and possibly try more. This is surprisingly more preachy than I want it to be, but I don't know. It's something that hit me when he said it, and I think, I don't know if it matters, but I think the world needs to hear it. There is something that I heard in one of these translations of the Tao of achieving stillness before you move. Achieving stillness. Like I said, the Tao is about doing by not doing. One of them was saying, we live our life, something to the effect of, we live our life in muddy water, and only by waiting for the dirt to settle can we make the vision clear. Something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but based on what was said during the interview, Aaron has more respect for the people that he's making a decision for than to go into it looking through muddy water. So over the last 3 months, he's just been sitting still, waiting for the mud to settle, and I think that is an interesting demonstration of that outlook. And I think if more of us waited till the water was clear to make some of our decisions would be profoundly better, and we would not have some of the lack of responsibility, I guess. Lack of responsibility in the outcome of some of our decisions. The thing that comes to mind right now is like everybody's uproar about the stock market, right? We made a decision based on muddy waters. I'm afraid I'm going to be poor when I retire, so I'm going to put money into this fund that's managed by somebody else that is that I rescind all my ownership of the entity, and the person that owns it is beholden to the stockholders, not to the shareholders. So it's constantly moving our money around. Probably not. Yeah, so that's way more than I really intended to get into. But no, I think it's very interesting that we don't take the time to make a decision with out all of the extra emotion. And when somebody does take the time because they understand that this decision affects more than them, like I could only fathom, or I couldn't fathom or imagine an environment where the decision that I make not only affects me, not only affects my circle, but also affects an entire city and an entire fan base. And they have an expectation of what they're going to get, and they want you to make a decision before you yourself even know if you're able to give them what they want. And then you're impatient because you don't understand that, or understands not, that's a harsh word. You don't appreciate the seriousness of the decision for the other person. Like I don't know Aaron Rodgers at all. I don't really. So I'm making some assumptions. What I think is comparative, or there's nothing that's comparative, I guess. But being cognizant that I guess if you read, it comes down to the Start With No book. If you understand where the other party in your negotiation is, and you're negotiating in good faith, where you're not trying to maximize what you can get from them for the maximum that you're going to give, right? Like that's what most businesses are. Or think about buying a car, right? They're going to try to like get the most money out of you, and you're going to try to get it for the least money of them, rather than just like, this is really what I need to do this, and I'll give you everything, right? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like there's a lot to that decision. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, I think it's interesting, like Aaron Rodgers, the way that you can say what you want about him and think what you want about him, but like if you see what he's doing, or if you try to be empathetic of a person's position, I think you open your mind to appreciate more of what they're doing. And I think the fact that he's taking so much time in making the decision based on the situation that he's in is a sign of an immense amount of respect that he has for all parties that are involved with the situation. And yes, it is uncomfortable for parts of the other party, but sometimes the best things happen after uncomfortable situations. And I think it's a testament to knowing what's important to you and making a decision based on what's important to you. And I think most of the uproar is because most of us don't make all of the decisions based on what is best for us. We make some of the decisions based on what others have told us is best for us, or what we think is best for us, rather than waiting until we know. And I think that's an ultimate sign of respect that some people are twisting into being disrespectful. And it's interesting to me how one situation can be looked at in such vastly different ways. You have people reporting that he's holding teams hostage and whatever else. But I get to the point where I think that he's just being respectful of what's being offered to him and wants to ensure that he is able to do what is being asked of him, I guess. So I don't know. I think it's super interesting. I thought it was super cool that everybody knew who Alan Watt was. Not that I'm surprised that any of them do, but I do find it kind of cool. This has been absolutely terrifying. At 51 minutes of talking to myself. So this is going to be awkward for a little while. I definitely understand that it's going to be me talking to myself. I definitely understand that probably nobody's going to get on board. But I do genuinely appreciate anybody who made it this far, either today, tomorrow, or years in the future. I don't really know what to do from here, so appreciate your time. I will see you tomorrow.